Welcome back, everyone. Glad to have you here for the weekend edition of the Cabral Concept. This is going to be episode 2325. If you'd like to follow along with all of the community's questions that I'll be answering today, head on over to stephencabral.com/2325. So on our weekend edition of the show, if you're one of our new listeners, welcome. We appreciate you being here with us. I answer a half a dozen questions on Saturday and a half a dozen from Sunday. Typically, they are somewhere between 8 and 10 weeks ago of when they've been actually submitted, and we simply work through our list of questions each and every weekend, about a dozen questions for the weekend, in the order that they come in. You can always ask your question at cabralsupportgroup.com every single day, and we answer them Monday through Friday right in our private Facebook-based group. So hopefully that's helpful. Can't wait to dive into today's questions, so let's get started. All right, I'm opening up the big document now, the big Word document, and we are picking right up at episode 2325. All right, here we go. So, first question comes from Jenna. Jenna asks, I just listened to your podcast explaining inositol for blood sugar balance and improving insulin sensitivity. I don't have PCOS symptoms, but I do believe I'm insulin resistant. However, I trend towards bouts of hypoglycemia once I get that blood sugar crash, which happens frequently. I wanted to know if inositol or even the Equilife glucose support would be more beneficial or harmful for someone dealing with hypoglycemia? All right, great question. And again, I also like to add that most of these questions have been answered before in some way, shape, or form. And that doesn't mean I ever don't mind answering them, because of course I do. I don't mind answering them, and I'm always happy to answer them. But here's the thing. You can go to stephencabral.com/podcast and type in hypoglycemia. So if you're someone that doesn't have PCOS symptoms, but you believe you're insulin resistant, you want to test that. And you can do it. I'm going to give you two easy ways to do it. One, it's only $20. So you buy yourself a glucometer. And I have resources for those at stephencabral.com/resources. Those are all my healthy living products that I use myself and I use in my practice. And of course, with my family as well. So you buy a glucometer and it might cost you like literally $20, maybe $25 at the most. And what you want to do is you want to check your blood sugar. So go back to my previous podcast. If you can't find podcasts on how to check your blood sugar, just ask at cabralsupportgroup.com. So you don't need to wait 8 to 10 weeks for me to answer it live on the show here, because we have amazing health coaches inside of that group. So here's what you do though. You do your fasting glucose when you wake up. You just take your blood sugar and it should be below 95, between about 75 and 95. If you're below 70, yeah, you might be dropping into hypoglycemia. Okay, if you're above 95, all right, well, then you're moving more towards insulin resistance. Again, I have to give you my disclaimer. I can't provide any medical diagnosis, any medical cures, any medical treatment plans. Okay, so you want to check that out. Now, if you actually want to see where your insulin levels are in the morning, as well as your hemoglobin A1C, you can run what's called the stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test. That's one lab that gives you all of your hormones. That is going to be my recommended lab for you, Jenna. You can go to stephencabral.com/labs. The reason why you want to check out that lab is it's very possible that you have reactive hypoglycemia. So you are someone that is getting higher levels of blood sugar, and then your body's not producing enough insulin, and then all of a sudden it is. And then what happens is you get this large amount of insulin in the bloodstream. And then after that, you get lower blood sugar. So a lot of that can also have to do with the adrenals. Please do keep that in mind. I had type 2 diabetes because of essentially adrenal issues, which also led to hypoglycemia as well. So highs and lows. So I definitely recommend, if possible, that you run that lab. Because I don't believe, even though insulin can be used with people who don't have PCOS, I don't know that I'd recommend those two products for you right now. I'd probably recommend more being able to balance cortisol levels if that ends up being the issue. And then I'd also balance that through nutrition, which I podcast on adding more fiber and protein at each meal, and doing a normal intermittent fast on maybe an extended one. All right. So lots of free podcasts on those as well. And then obviously a personal plan if you do run that lab. Emily's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I live in a place for a few years that sprayed insecticides frequently indoors. I now worry that what that could do to my health. Any suggestions on detoxifying, any harmful effects, or anything test I should run for? All right. Well, insecticides, pesticides can actually be tested for with the environmental toxicity test. I believe that's at stephencabral.com/labs. If not, you can search for it when you go to stephencabral.com/shop. So if you are actually worried about it, you can put your mind at ease by running that lab and seeing if it is actually high. And if it's not high, then good, right? Life is good. Now, if you didn't want to run the lab, totally understand. I would do a 21-day functional medicine detox. You can find out details of that at stephencabral.com/detox. And I would also, if possible, try to get your sweat on as many days a week as possible, like 4 or 5. You could use a regular dry sauna for 20 minutes, or you could use an infrared sauna for more like 40 minutes. One's lower temperature, one's higher temperature, and they're both great. So that's definitely what I'd recommend. And then, of course, I would do a daily smoothie with using our daily foundational protocol, because that's going to help you out with your daily detox support, right? So your at minimum daily nutritional support, 2 scoops, and daily fruit and vegetable blend, 1 scoop. That will help with your daily detox. All right. Jen's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for all you do. I'm a huge fan of doing your 7-day detox every quarter, and I've had great results. I was wondering what your thoughts are on Humic Extract, if you worked with it, and whether or not you find it helpful for gut health. Thank you. Okay. So I've actually talked about Humic Extract quite often, quite a number of times. And it is not something, let me just see if I can find it for you for podcasts as well, because it's on very specific ones. So let's just go over here. I can't grab it real quick for you, but you can definitely look it up at stephencabral.com/podcast. And I am positive, meaning like I feel favorable towards Humic Extract, but I don't use it as the mainstay of my gut healing protocols. And the reason is that it has some definite beneficial properties to it, and I would use it as an adjunct, meaning like an add-on, but I would never have it replace the gentler, meaning less sensitive, functional medicine formulas that we use. So for example, let me just say, for example, we'll use the CBO protocol and the sensitive gut guide to help balance people's digestion, all right? That's if there's bacterial overgrowth or there's yeast-based overgrowth. Again, no diagnosing disease, no medical-based protocols, but that's what we do for underlying health imbalances. Now, if there was some type of H. pylori, well, from an underlying root cause imbalance, we would add mastic gum for 2 months. If there was parasites from an underlying root cause, we would use para support protocol. So that's what we do. So those are the 4 main things that can happen with the gut. Then after that, we would do the CBO finisher, which contains 2 products. One to build up your good probiotics after you go through the CBO, and the second to help heal and seal the gut wall, which probiotics, by the way, help to a certain degree with that as well, because it would help on overall inflammation. But we're using glutamine and acetyl D-glucosamine. We are using zinc. We are using aloe vera. We are using marshmallow extract. So all of those are very, very beneficial. So that's what I do first. Then if someone says, hey, I want to purchase Humic Extract, after I would do that and just add that as the new variable another week, see if you have any reaction, then I'd be okay with that. But I wouldn't use it as the only thing. So hopefully that's helpful. Sean says, what product for inositol do you recommend? Okay, let's go to, good question. Let's go to stephencabral.com/shop. And just make sure we have it up there, because I actually don't know that we do, because we use it in our private practice, but let's make sure we have it online. And it says, let's just type in inositol, and there it is. Okay, so there you go. So the inositol product that we recommend is right at stephencabral.com/shop. Just type in inositol in the search box and you'll find it. And we recommend 2 capsules twice a day. All right, so that's my recommendation, so that you're getting 3.2 grams of myo and D-chiro inositol, which you want both forms. You don't want just one, you want both. Okay, so you get the synergy. And it also contains 100 milligrams twice a day of alpha-lipoic acid, which helps with what? Well, the underlying balances of blood sugar as well. So I'm a huge fan of that product. We use it quite a bit in our practice to help with insulin and blood sugar. All right, next question is from Stephanie. Stephanie says, hey, Dr. Brawl, thank you so much for committing to take the time to answer our questions. I'm a Vada, 26-year-old, had amenorrhea for 3 years since coming off birth control. I'm an IHP level 2, ran the Big 5, did the protocols over a year ago, progesterone support, all that jazz. My symptoms have dramatically improved, and the only issue I'm having is the lack of a period. Went to the top endocrinologist, ran MRIs, scans, everything's normal. As an IHP, I know my hormones are low, including estrogen, took DHEA for 12 weeks as well, progesterone, estrogen support, but nothing. It looks like it's an issue with the hypothalamus pituitary itself, where my luteinizing hormone is not high enough for me to ovulate, thus functional hypothalamic amenorrhea. Eating plenty of calories, gained weight since to reach a BMI of 22, but nothing yet. Since I'm not in a rush to get pregnant, the endo recommended to just wait and see what happens. Taking very small dosages of bioidentical estrogen to support bones in the meantime. What are your thoughts? I obviously don't want to take them, but I'm concerned about my bones. All right, Stephanie, thank you for writing in. High level question, love it. And hey, thank you too for your support, and thank you for being a part of IHP and a level 2. Your knowledge is obviously next level, which is great to see. Okay, so this is one of those cases where amenorrhea for 3 years, birth control for many years, 26 years old. Maybe you want to get pregnant 2 years from now, 3 years from now, who knows, your timeline, but let's get you there, all right? So my opinion, I do agree that this could be hypothalamic, right? So there's something called the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis or ovary axis, however you want to look at it. And I've explained this at a high level in IHP level 2 as well, but I just did a case study for you. So I can't wait for you to check this out. You wrote in on March 31st. Obviously, I know we're into June now. So we're 2 months behind. We're about 9 weeks behind. But let me get that podcast for you because you're going to like this one. This is a case study on a brand new lab we are offering called the fertility test. Now, it's not just for women looking to get pregnant, but it's anyone that can't get their period, doesn't have their period, is moving into early menopause. Maybe they shouldn't be yet because they're in their late 30s, early 40s, and they think that maybe they should have a little bit more time. Or you're just trying to get your fertility back, your cycle back. So let's give you that number. That's stephencabral.com/2309. All right, I want you to check out that show. Then, so this is what I would do. Again, I can't give medical advice. I would absolutely be using DHEA at a higher level. Again, if it was me, I can't give medical advice. I would be doing, instead of 5 milligrams twice a day, I'd probably be doing 10 milligrams twice a day. I'd be using the daily estrogen support. I'd be using the progesterone support. I'd be using adrenal soothe, or basically be using the ultimate sleep protocol. And that's what I would do. I'd do the adrenal soothe at night, the magnesium at night, maybe one at lunch, one for both magnesium and the adrenal soothe at lunch. And then I would do the liquid melatonin, sleep help support before bed. And the reason is that I'm just trying to reset that circadian rhythm, get you into deep levels of healing. And then if needed, I would support your thyroid as well. So that's what I would do. I would give you daily thyroid support if you needed it. I'd make sure you keep your BMI definitely no lower than a 22. Don't over-exercise. Don't over-stress. Don't over-detox. You still want to do those things for sure. That's what I would do to reset that circadian rhythm. For sure, that is what I would do. Lots of nourishing food as well. So hopefully that's helpful. And again, I would also run the new women's fertility test too. I haven't talked about it yet, but you're the first person I'm sharing it with. So there you go. You can find that at stephencabral.com/shop. And I don't even know if it's on the website, but let's check it out. Fertility test. Email support@equa.life when you listen to this, if it's not on the website yet, because it's brand new and I don't see it on the website yet. Stephanie's up next. And by the way, then Stephanie, if needed, because you'll be taking a lot of phytoestrogens in the estrogen support and the nutrition plan that you can be using. But if you needed to use some low level bioidentical estrogen support, well, maybe you decide to do that. In my opinion, you'd probably want to be using compounded form along with progesterone in there, so you're not just getting one. But no matter what, whether you go with the natural approach or the bioidentical hormones, run the lab, run that fertility lab or the stress, mood, and metabolism lab 8 weeks after beginning that protocol. All right, just you want to give it 8 weeks, but definitely 8 to 12 weeks, but then definitely run that lab just to make sure that your hormones then aren't getting too high, right? Because that can happen, and that's might be needed for a period of time, but then you could wean off as needed. All right, Stephanie. Apparently Stephanie's up next. Again, let's see what she says. Me again, I forgot to mention that my TSH continues to go down, which is very weird. I'm fully aware of the root causes of as an IHP level 2, and it's definitely not heavy metals, fluoride, lack of minerals, etc. It started at 2.3 and now is up to 3.3. Do you think this could be due to hypothalamic amenorrhea? No, Stephanie. So this is interesting. So again, I don't pre-read any of these questions. This is literally off the top of my head from what I've seen over the past 25 years, and in both fitness, wellness, health. You know what I'm saying. Excuse me. So that's not a good sign, and that's why this could be going back to stress, Stephanie. We need to explore hypothalamic pituitary amenorrhea, but keep in mind hypothalamic pituitary amenorrhea or gonadal dysfunction or ovary dysfunction. Well, again, like whatever semantic names that you want to give it, is absolutely and oftentimes predicated by higher levels of stress. The stress could be viral load, heavy metal load, mental, emotional, gut-based. We need to figure out what it is because it's also now driving your TSH higher. And I know this is like a strange one, for medicine, but the higher the TSH, the lower the thyroid function, just for everybody out there listening. So it means that your thyroid is becoming, again, no medical diagnosis, but is becoming more hypothyroid, lower thyroid, which will absolutely and can absolutely affect your menstrual cycle. Please go back to the adrenals, go back to stress, go back to the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system, figure out why the thyroid is not moving in the right direction, and then you may want to add that daily thyroid support and maybe even thyroid glandular that I've spoken about before in order to prove that at the same time. Remember, it's not one lever that you need to pull. This is, and I know that you know this, but for everybody out there, conventional medicine is reductionist. You do one thing and that all of a sudden cures the body. We know that doesn't happen. You take one medication and masks the symptoms, yes, but to get well, you need to pull usually multiple levers at the same time, and that is how you truly rebalance the body. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you everyone for writing in. Such great questions. Appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow answering another 6. Take care.